Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be looking at Ocean Protocol. This has been a request by one of our members on the Discord. If you'd like to see more information about that, look in the description, you'll find the link there. Why not join? It's free. You can chat with us. Just mention member of staff, will be happy to help you out. So basically what we were doing within this, I'm going to split this up into two videos. We're going to have a macro video, which is this one, and then we're also going to have a shorter time frame video, which is going to be in the tag up above right now. So if you want the shorter term moves, then that's the video you want to watch. Otherwise, stay tuned into this video and we'll go over some of the macro stuff. So basically within this, we've got a few options. There isn't a lot of sort of structure to the left hand side here, and this is the most price data that I can seem to find for it. So we don't have a lot to go on, and basically all we have is this move here. We don't really know what's happened on this side. It could have come down into this, it could have come up into it, I'm not entirely sure. So within this structure though, what we can argue is that basically we have the potential to have a look at this in two ways. So we can look at this in a potentially bullish way, where we have this as a 1, 2, up into here as a 3, 4, and a 5. So if that is correct and we've got a 5-wave completed move into this high point, then we would actually be looking for this correction to the downside. So now basically within these corrections to the downside, a common area that we would look to travel would be within this green support box that I have drawn on the screen here. So this basically, we've come down to this 1510, which is a 50% retracement. So that sort of satisfies the minimum requirement if we're looking at this as a bullish structure. And we could actually potentially be starting to form this wave C to the upside, though we have a few things that we need to talk about first. And before we get too bullish, there are some things that need to happen for this to play out. What we would want to see is obviously breaking back above this high point here of this $1.50 and alternatively this $2. And I know that sounds obvious, but basically until we do that, we could always extend to the downside. And I've drawn this channel on here. And I've tried to connect sort of as much of these wicks as possible with allowing for these breakouts and fake outs basically within the channel line at the top here. So within this, basically we can see we're still within this channel, and we would have to overcome this this upward channel line here. I mean, you can adjust this slightly by dragging it up to the wick, but this is basically pulled off of the bottom. If so we can argue we basically completed here. But then what we'd want to see is we'd want to start to see good structure here. We'd want to look at this potentially as a 1, 2, then we'd want to see a 3, 4, and a 5. And effectively what we'd want to see is basically a move that comes back down and retests some of these zones. If we retest these zones and we start to get some good structure here to the upside, then it's possible that we could actually look to break through this. And potentially what we could look to do is potentially make a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we either break through with a 3, or alternatively we form an additional wave 1 like this. We come back for a 2, and then we look to break above with a 3, 4, 5. So that's looking for continuation. So that is a possibility. So we're going to, like I said, there's a shorter time frame video which is going to be talking about the moves at this point here. But here we're just looking at the macro. The problem is we would also have this area of resistance above us. So this red box area here, effectively this red box is the Fibonacci relationship. So it's a retracement from this high down to this low. So basically within this zone, these are the zones that we could see potential resistance coming. So that's the 0.382, 0.5 is also an interesting one. The 618 lines up with some of these tops here, so that's also one that we could look to test out. The 50% also lays on this channel line. So if we do move up here, we could get a reaction off of these. Whether it's a sell-off and we break to the downside again, or whether we actually just get a reaction as a drop, find support, and then look to push up, we'll have to see. That is obviously written in the stars, but we don't know that information yet, so we're using what we currently have. So it is possible, like I said, that we could have this as an ABC, and this look could be completed here, and we're looking to move to the upside. If we were talking about this being completed, and we were looking at the potential of a move to the upside, what we could actually talk about is the potential to actually come up towards this zone here. So this 1-to-1 would actually be $19. Though within these moves, if we're looking at it as an ABC, it doesn't technically have to go to this 1-to-1. The minimum requirement would be this 274 as a 0.618. That's what we really be sort of looking for. There is always the potential we could form a double top if that scenario also plays out, where we have the C wave to the upside. But ideally, we'd want to see a break past this A wave high. So that 0.618 might be an interesting area, 702, 786. Those could be potential areas we could look to travel with this C wave. So that's something that we can talk about if we're looking to flip bullish at this point. Obviously, if we move down lower, this adjusts the C wave target as well. So what we also need to be aware of within this, and we're looking at this as a potentially completed move here. However, we have to allow for the fact that we could get something like this, where we have this as an A, a B, a C. We come back up here and we retest this channel, and then we actually have one more leg to the downside. So this is one thing we just need to be aware of, is that we could actually see a push up to this channel and still set a new low. So we got to just be a bit careful with this. If we did break lower, then obviously these support zones would be interesting again. This 0833 area lines up with some of this previous support, as does this lower range of the 786, which is this 3-4. So if we did actually start to break down, I'd be looking towards this channel line and then potentially some of these areas that are shown on the screen currently. So that's just one way of looking at this move. We can also look at this in a slightly different move from the top. So like I said, we need to still be careful that within this move, we don't have this as a W. We get an X wave and then we break to the downside for a Y wave, because that could look to bring us much lower within this range and then look to target out some of these zones. So this is something that we need to keep aware of if we start to break down. So what is the other way of looking at this? So we're going to talk about that now. So the other way of looking at this rather is that we could potentially look at it as being within a 5-wave move that isn't completed yet. And the way that we'd have to look at this, given the current structure, is basically with a 1-2 into this point, then a 1-2, 3 into this low, 4 and a 5. In which case we could still be within this 4th wave. So this 4th wave here, we come right into this zone currently. So that's this 0387 to this 03876. So this is on Bittrex, unfortunately. So the price points might be slightly different, but basically the idea is that within this zone we could actually be looking to get a rejection and actually look to push down for another 5th wave. If we do get this additional 5th wave to the downside, what I'd be looking out for is if we manage to drop down past this 0840 zone. If we pass that 0840 zone, what we'd have to be careful of is an additional 4th wave here, because that would be a 1.618 extension of this wave 1. So if we do actually get this additional sell-off here, and we look to break down even further here, it is possible that we could be looking for this low. We can argue that we're already within this 4th wave and we just haven't reached this 1.618 zone by counting this slightly different on the way down. So we'll have to just monitor it. If we do just get one more 5-wave move to the downside, then it would be possible that actually this is completed like this, and we've just completed our move into this zone here, and then we're going to look to push back to the upside. However, we would still have to just be cautious until we move back up and take out this high point here. Where is it? This high point here of this 3226. Until we actually move back up and take out this high point, we would have to allow for the fact that we could continue to break to the downside. So, you know, these are just things we need to be aware of. I know everyone's getting extremely bullish off of this move, and yes, it could potentially be the start of a trend, but we need to just protect ourselves, because this thing has done this time and time again in this market, where we have these rallies and it falls off, we have these rallies and it falls off. So this could just be one of those rallies. I'm open for the idea of a bullish potential out of this move, but it needs to prove itself. I want to see that back test and then look for that next push to the upside. If we fail to get that back test and hold that support, or we start to get the wrong structure to the downside, then it now becomes more possible that actually what we're doing is this. And if we are talking about the potential that some of these BTC and ETH potentially are having another drop to the downside, it is fully possible that something like this could play out, and this would then basically make us look to either, like I said, either we look as our 3rd wave into here and we count this slightly different, or alternatively we're still within this 3rd and we have this additional drop. One way or another, whichever way it is, effectively if we were looking at this third wave into this position, that would only be viable for as long as we stay below this 3226 area. If we move back above that, it doesn't mean that it's invalidated. This 5-wave count effectively only invalidates by moving back above 72. But by then we would start to have more clues within the structure, and basically that would give us a signal as to whether we were more bullish, or whether we could sort of disregard this, or whether we were actually following this current count that I've got on the screen. So we just need to be careful. I just wanted to show you guys this count just for the downside possibilities here. It is still possible. We're still within this channel line. We've managed to retake this 50% zone of this channel, but it is possible we could just fake above it and then break back down below it again. So we just got to be careful. Like I said, it is also possible we could form another structure here where we get this as basically an A, a B, and a C wave to the upside, and then we actually look to break down again. So we're going to be monitoring this. So if you guys are interested in getting regular updates on this coin and you are new to Crypto Rosetta, why not hit that subscribe button? That way you can keep up to date, turn on those bell notifications. Also leave us some feedback. Interested to hear what you guys think. Do you think we have a low in, or do you think that we still have more to come? Okay, so I'm going to leave this video here, and basically, like I said, there will be an additional video which is doing the shorter term time frames. So if you're interested in short term moves within it, why don't you check out that video? Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. Hope everyone has a great day. We will see you in the next video. Take care out there, everybody.